Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning, everybody. Welcome again to Mr. Ahmed Abdulati English Core Academy. Today, we are going to handle a very important issue regarding English learners. Those students who are in IGCSE for Cambridge and for Oxford, and in all boards actually that handle IGCSE contents, they have some issues regarding the writing texts. The writing tasks represent a very important and very difficult topic that every learner is facing when handling the exam. As we all know, the IGCSE has two trends. The first one is the core, and the second one is the extended. The core is just tackling a very light core in the skills of the language. The second one, which is extended, um, really paper 2 and paper 4, paper 2 and paper 5 as well. Those students know it very well that they have three writing tasks. Starting from summary, it's reading and writing, where they have to integrate some things about it. And the second thing is the techniques that you should use in the summary. Next, and the following exercise is the writing email, which is informal email. And we need here to differentiate between the formal and informal. Uh, each has its own register, its own expressions that they need to use. Next, and come the last exercise, which you will find there the article. And of course, you need to differentiate between an article and an essay. The article has certain register that you need to differentiate and how to use it. Semi-formal, what you really need to use in each stage, and its type, what's to do, what's not to do. In addition, you will find other exercises that might come to you, like a report, that you need to write a report about a certain activity. Next come the reviews with the film review, book review, product review, and many others. Each has its own stages, and you need to know how to start, how to even detail the things, add more details and support your details, and ending it. Uh, Today, we will be speaking about writing in general in IGCSE criteria, and basically in the register, how to differentiate between the formal and informal. This is Mr. Ahmed Abdulati with you, and today we will be talking about the following points. What is the meaning of register? What does it mean? And what are the rules of the register in the informal writing? The register is how to show the awareness of the differences between formal and informal while writing. When you start differentiating and writing, you need to keep things in mind. When you were in the previous stages, you used to write like you cannot differentiate. You use wrong words, wrong and misuse these words. In order to avoid this and to put you on the track, you need to know the rules and to follow them. Let's start by rule number 1. When you write in an informal register, for example, in the email, you need to replace the abstract noun with the person and the verb. For example, on your arrival. So you need to say when you arrive. So I added you as a person, as a pronoun, and the verb itself instead of the noun, which is arrival. Rule number 2 is to replace verb ing, which we call it the gerund, that follows words such as before, after, while, etc. And we need to change this also with a person or a pronoun and a verb. For example, knock on the door before entering the room. Before, look at the word before here, and entering is a gerund, ing, verb and ing. And we need to form this, we need to change it from the formal way which is you see now, to the informal way, which is before you go in, before you enter, before you step in. All this acceptable here. The third rule is to replace the formal verbs with the simpler ones and prepositions or in the phrases. For example, the verb distinguish. Distinguish means is to tell the difference. So instead of saying to distinguish, we say to tell the difference between the white and the black. Rule number 4 is to replace the passive voice with the active one. You all know what it means by active and how to use it in the passive. But here, no, you need to use it and converse it on the other way around, which is you need to change the passive, which is formal, into the active, which you must use in the informal register. For example, revision should be done. This is in the passive form. So we need to change it to be you should revise. The fifth rule is to avoid the use of which and that. And why this? Because you use which and that means you are using the formal register here. So for example, I was sorry to hear that you feel lonely. This is the formal register, the formal form, because you used that and which as a linking pronoun. So you say here, I was sorry to hear you feel lonely. So here without that and which, and it is perfect here. The sixth rule, rule number 6, use contracted forms whenever possible in friendly register. And this is the only place in the written exam where you can use them appropriately. For example, we say we will, well, I will, I'll, and so on. You know lots of examples of these. Rule number 7 is avoid listing when writing friendly letters. What do we mean by listing here? People, they start saying firstly, secondly, thirdly, mom, dad, sister, and so on. All these types of listing and stating the obvious. So you need to avoid them, of course. For example, instead of saying the word firstly, so you can say to start with, to begin with. Rule number 8, replace joining words used to develop a point made in a formal writing. And for example, the word furthermore. So instead of saying the word furthermore, what's more? Not only that, but also. Not only, but also. You can use this using the commas and the punctuation things, and don't forget about them. And you also can use that's not all. So this is a very important rule that you need to take into account. And the last one, rule number 9, is the word one sometimes need to be replaced with a. So I have one car. I have a car. So here you can use it to change it from formal to into informal. Change very to really, and also be able to can. Many to lots of or loads of. Now I hope that I helped you a little bit differentiating between them. In the next lesson, we will take more examples of how to change it from from formal into informal while writing. Thank you so much for being with Mr. Ahmed Abdulhati in the English Core Academy.